twerking, grinding, and pole dancing are now allowed without a label. Hold on. Changes to popular dances such as twerking, grinding, and pole dancing are now allowed. Chat, we're about to go insane. Yes! Previously, some dances were prohibited and others were allowed with a label. Enforcing on dances regardless of context meant our policy prohibited twerking as a rating. Okay. So chat, we're there basically. We're here. We're at the top. We're basically at the top. You know? Fatherless activity. All right. You know? I mean, that's what you say. But what is this seriously about? Changes. I don't know what artistic nudity is. Game nudity, contextual labels necessary, body painting, mature games. Isn't artistic nudity a little too like up to interpretation? I don't feel like it's direct enough to let people know like this is what falls within the bounds of, you know, this particular type of content or act. Because yeah, like literally anything. I don't like. Obviously, you can't just take your shirt off and start just shaking or whatever. I would assume and say it's artistic. Like what is the artistry behind this? Unless you're taking your top off and drawing a portrait of yourself or having a portrait of you be drawn. But I feel like that goes under. Well, it's not body painting, so I guess that could be artistic to a degree. Only thing that I found weird the other day was that I checked my Twitch analytics the other day and I saw like a list of people that they usually recommend. What I will say is you should be a little bit stricter on finding this type of stuff because I think it's too easily like, or at least in my case, it slid into my recommended, like with me having to do nothing. I saw this girl, Asian something, and I'm like, what is this? And I clicked on it and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Asian bunny? Fucking a fan on stream is art too? Wait, what do you mean? Asian bunny? But she doing that right now. She doing what right now? Shaking their toes naked but had the camera pointed on their face. Yeah, like, I feel like if you want to go to that, like, okay, cool, but just make sure it more carefully falls into people's algorithm that's, like, looking for it, I suppose. As long as they're not linking nobody to nothing harmful, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it's not really a huge issue, but if they made a big deal out of the gambling shit, like, you got to keep it consistent. Like, if you can't gamble on here, bro, I don't really think, you know, shit that's very easily interpreted as done for, like, some type of sexual gratification or pleasure should probably be allowed. You know, you should be less vague when it comes to whatever this artistic nudity shit mean and just flat out say what is and what isn't okay or acceptable. I mean, I'm not a gambler either, but okay, bro. Like, do they get banned for that? Feel bad for kids nowadays, really. Yeah, I feel like it should just be harder to find that type of shit. Like, I don't think it should not be allowed, but I think it should definitely be hard to find. They got banned. She got banned. The update is to make it harder to find. Maybe I just didn't finish reading it then. It's impossible to not become a porn addict. Well, that's not true. You can very easily not be a porn addict. I think the pipeline in which you expose or get exposed to porn shouldn't be through something like Twitch, though. Like, being exposed to porn versus becoming a porn addict is different. I don't think your exposure to that type of stuff should be like from a traditionally speaking gaming / IRL streaming site. They did ban Asian Bunny too. Yeah, but I feel like you could ban her, but you also need to rectify your site to make sure it doesn't easily fall into, you know what I'm saying, people's recommended that weren't searching for it. Like, maybe, yeah, she might have deserved a ban, but also, like, maybe be less vague with what you want on the platform or restrict it to adult only. And I guess you could probably rectify that as well by making some type of, like, proofreading situation where you have to prove that you're a certain age to get into the streamer's content that you want to see if they're making that type of shit. I've seen so many I'm addicted to porn vids on YouTube from young men, and it made me so sad. Hey, I mean, if you fall into that and you keep feeding it, it will grow larger. It will do that. Can't lie and say it don't have an impact on people. I'm not sad for them, to be honest. Well, I could be sad for the way they got exposed to it. Some people get exposed to shit like that like way too early, or when they're not mature enough to be able to deal with or regulate like what time it's for, or how often you think about that type of stuff, or where it's appropriate, where it's not appropriate. Like, I have sympathy for how a person gets exposed to any type of sexual activity, especially when it comes to the pipeline in which they get exposed to it. Because if you got somebody basically on here, and I'm not saying that that's what happens, but if it happens to be somebody on here doing something that you're like, oh, I never seen this before, and then they're like, oh, well, if you want to see more, go to this link, and then you click on the link, and then it's like, oh my God, what the fuck? And now you exposed to a whole new world. I'm not saying that happens, but in the perfect world where every person is exposed in that way, and they could like kind of very carefully place the blame on every single person on here who does some type of weird sexual type of content on Twitch, I could see that being a thing. I was 11 shit crazy. When you are doing a topless stream, or when am I doing a topless stream? Yeah, especially if you had untapped access, you could see some crazy shit. Yeah, I don't think the only time I got exposed to anything that I feel like I wasn't supposed to see was when I went in my dad's closet. But like I said, he was a different type of nigga. Like, it was a whole world in there. I'm telling you. It was just different. I'm not just talking fuck tapes. I'm saying it was certain shit that I didn't even know what you would use that for until I got older. Mad condoms, like all types of shit. I'm telling you. Not saying he was a fiend, but he had his little collection. And he had a walk-in closet. Like, oh my God. It was over. For sure, run into my dad's collection. Trying to see a shirtless Sean. No, you're not. You're chatting. Collection nuts. Sean starts crying. Wow. Exposed by a parent is hella traumatizing. Well, I didn't get exposed by my dad, but what I saw when I was in there was just like, that was when I had already figured out what like busting nuts and shit was. But like when I walked in there and I saw, I'm like, oh my God, this is just an insane thing to see. Nah, that is actually insane. What the fuck? What was that? She works out. I don't give a fuck. So like if you go and you click on a stream that's like 18 plus, do you get like a this is for mature, or you need to be 18 plus before you go through this wall or something like that to prevent people from seeing it? But I know it's just as easy as making an account where you basically 18 and up. Unless you have to use your ID, it's way too easy to get into that. But it's kids that are smart. Bro, I could Photoshop. Imagine with the technology and everything and the know-how today, a 14-year-old could Photoshop his ID to make it look like it say 18. Yeah, nah, they need to change that. That's too easy. Twitch, when they're told they gotta ban girls instead of all the normal people. Well, I won't say it's a lot of normal people on Twitch either, but multiple things can be wrong at the same time. They have to have a consistent basis or understanding of like how these things can be sexual in nature, or what you could be potentially leading people to, like certain links not being able to be allowed, and certain ways of you expressing yourself while you are not conservatively clothed. Because in essence, having your breasts out or your chest out isn't technically like nudity if you want to be technical, but the way in which you, I guess, I don't even know, use your body on your stream. Because essentially you a cam girl on Twitch.